Hello and welcome to this Mastering the Machine Automation Academy video for the 26th of November 2022. It's the second anniversary of the Automation Academy, and the topic today is that. I give a full tour of the Automation Academy and IO Central. Hope you enjoy it. Good morning and welcome to this, the 48th Mastering the Machine webinar for the Automation Academy. Today's subject is going to be, this is the second anniversary of the Automation Academy, so I'm going to spend some time going over what's gone right and what's gone not so right in the last 2 years since I opened this to the public. And I'm going to give a tour of the Academy and show you some statistics. And before we get started, I'll explain kind of where this came from. Mastering the Machine is named after a document that I put out almost 10 years ago called Mastering the Machine, and I just thought it was a cool name. The document itself is about specifying machinery, which I've been involved in the machine building business for most of my life. So I put this document out in 2013 about how large machine builders specify machinery and quote it, and all the documents required and things like that. So I just kind of thought it was a cool name to name the webinar itself after. And then what is the Automation Academy? Well, this is kind of what it is, showing you on the screen here. But since today's subject is the Automation Academy itself, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this screen. I'm going to just talk about the Automation Academy and some of the things that have gone on in the last couple of years. As I mentioned, I did start this. I started working on it in August 2020, which was a little over 2 years ago. And it was well into COVID, and COVID started in March, and simultaneously with that, tornado came through my town and wiped out a training facility. So suddenly I found myself not traveling around as much, and my training facility was gone, and I was at my house, and I decided to kind of make a pivot and do a lot more online stuff. And that's where I started doing the webinars and putting this stuff online. Opened it to the public November 21st, 2020. So this is almost the 2-year anniversary. It's about 5 days later. Some of the people that are members of the Automation Academy were actually kind of backdoor folks that I let in September, October. So they've been with me pretty much the whole time. And at the end of this webinar, I'll kind of list some of those people that have been members since the beginning. The organization of the Automation Academy itself is as shown here, and I will show you this live. I'll show you a little bit of the Academy, but it's organized basically into 4 sections. There's a career section, and this is for people that are, it's not a recruiting service or anything like that, but it is for people to figure out what they want to do in life. And a lot of it is based after Ken Coleman's work. He does a lot of job aptitude stuff, and he has people establish goals and determine a path forward and things like that. And of course, since I'm in the automation field, much of it is geared around industrial automation and electricians and control technicians, machine building, things like that. Another section is the education section, and much of this is video training. Basically, I put out a video course probably 3 or 4 years ago, put it on Udemy, created it for Automation NTH, and then also labeled it for myself, and decided to test the waters on PLC courses. And, the jury's mixed on that. There's a lot of folks that already have PLC courses out there. Vlad Romanov and Sean Tierney. There's a guy, My PLC Training, Stephen Gates. So I'm not out there to compete with them, but I did test the waters. So I put out an RS Logix 500 video. And I have a whole lot of other videos, but they're a little different. And I'll kind of show you what's different about them than the formal training videos. The library is documents and installable software. So All this software is free, so none of it's like pirated stuff, but some of it's really hard to find, such as RS Trainer. Unless somebody hosts it on their site, Allen Bradley doesn't seem to make RS Trainer available anymore. It's an old RS 500 program that you can install and run an emulator on, things like that. Also, there's some HMI software, things like that. The community used to be just called the community, and now it is open to the public. So it's something called IO Central. I showed the logo, I think, on the first page. It actually can be accessed by anybody. Anybody can sign up, create a profile, things like that. But it used to be an internal thing for the Automation Academy. So what else is in there? 127 videos. So I actually have lists of all this fun stuff. 48 of those videos, about a third, almost a third of them, or more than a third of them, are these webinars, which of course are free to anybody anyway. You can go to my YouTube channel and see all these old webinars. They're on various subjects, a lot of PLC subjects or entrepreneurship, or a lot of guests. I had a lot of different people that I interviewed. There are 9 videos associated with that career section I mentioned. There are 31 PLC Odyssey videos. The PLC Odyssey videos are not formal training where you would take quizzes and things like that. But if you really wanted to learn Siemens Step 7 or ControlLogix, if you go through those videos, I guarantee you, you will learn the programming software pretty well if you just follow along, and you can start and stop the videos. But they're not in the format of standard training videos. So I don't do like, this is a bit and this is a timer and things like that. Basically, what I do in the Odyssey videos is I build a program from scratch, configuring the PLC, downloading it, things like that. So that exists for TI Portal, which is a Siemens platform, Siemens Step 7, RS Logix 500, RS Logix 5000, and Omron. I did several Omron videos. I plan to do the same for Beckhoff. I don't think I'm going to create a formal course of videos for Beckhoff, although I am creating a formal course to go out and teach it. The PLC training videos, the ones that you see there, 20 PLC training videos, those are RS Logix 500. As I said, I was paid to create that course by Automation NTH, and then I went ahead and branded it for myself and also put it on Udemy. And I make a little bit from that. You know, people sign up for the course, and I don't know, maybe 20, 30 bucks a month. I don't make a ton on it because I don't advertise it, for one thing. There are 3 HMI training videos. These are a little more of the formal HMI type stuff. I use FactoryTalk View ME for that. There are 3 Raspberry Pi videos. They include you know, going online and configuring Raspberry Pi, and also assembling the Pi plates, which is Jerry Wassinger's platform. It's kind of industrializes Raspberry Pi. And then there's 3 other videos, and they're really not PLC oriented. They are like data and data types and things like that. So they're important prerequisites if you're going to get into PLC programming. How does, you know, the numbering systems work, hexadecimal and decimal and bits, and how do bits become numbers and things like that. So that's kind of an overview of the videos. That's in the education section. There are 148 files. The files are downloadable, and this is available at the lowest level of pricing of the Automation Academy. So my troubleshooting book, which is about a $50 book, I broke it into 24 book sections, and all the sections, every bit of the book is there. You would have to download it as 24 separate PDFs, but that book is on a whole lot of different sections anyway. You know, everything from basic electricity to machine vision to CAD. There's some PLC stuff in there. Really, a lot of the PLC stuff is from my PLC hardware and programming book, which was an early release of the advanced PLC hardware and programming book. Stuff on microcontrollers. A lot of this is available for free, but you'd have to go find it. It's on Raspberry Pi and Arduino. And I went and got these from a lot of different things where I bought controllers and things, and then they sent me links to a lot of their libraries. There are some electrical CAD files, 4 files on robots and safety. These are basically articles. So some of these articles, one of them is a help article on HMI training. It's 933 pages long. So some of these are pretty big files, but all these are downloadable from the library section. 21 articles on PLC training. They're basically like PLC 101, PLC 102, PLC 201. There's some advanced stuff in there, you know, on auto sequences, input structures, things like that. Files on machine vision, mostly Cognex, a general machine vision overview, panel fab, how do you build control panels? I actually released a book on this, and I believe the entire book is in there. This is on designing your own PLC trainer, which I think hopefully you can see behind me. As I speak here, there are a couple trainers, and I show how to wire those and how to build them, build your own trainer kit. There is a kind of an important document in here called Industrial Acronyms and Definitions, and that thing constantly grows. It's got a lot of things on Industry 4.0. There's a lot of stuff on the Industrial Internet of Things, including some links to Walker Reynolds website, things like that. There are some applications on there. So basically how to do programming and machine design on a couple applications. So that's what some of the files are in the library. There are 9 installable software packages. I mentioned this before. Most of these are available. You can find them somewhere on the internet. Things like Allen Bradley's Control Components Workbench, which you can get directly from Allen Bradley, but I was always afraid that they might eventually charge for it, or you won't be able to get it or whatever. There is a free Omron download. I don't know if this is a legit file. It is the full running software package, but I got it from some website, I think PLC something, and you know, it runs. I don't know what to say. I think it's you're supposed to have a license for that. Maybe it's a cracked version. I don't know. In any case, RS Trainer is on there, Control Components Workbench, RS Links, things like that. I will be putting all of the Beckhoff installable files. I have those. They are free from Beckhoff. You can get them from their site, but this kind of puts them in a central location. Motion Analyzer. This is something that I used a lot when specifying Allen Bradley motion control systems. Again, it's free, but you know, it's hard to find some of this stuff on Allen Bradley, which is why I put it here. Epson robot programming software. I did a class on this probably a year ago for Automation NTH, and just went ahead and put the installable file there. WineView HMI, I use a lot of these. There's one on the trainer behind me here. That software is free, and it runs with simulation on your laptop. It's a really good HMI program. Really, to me, it's about as good as FactoryTalk View ME, but it's free. And it runs on your computer. You can simulate an HMI and everything. I plan to try to link to a emulator, the Allen Bradley RS Logix 5000 emulator, maybe the 500 emulator, and see if it works with that. I've never tested that, but I use this software a lot down at ABD in Miami. They have probably 50 of these touchscreens. Very inexpensive touchscreens. A 7-inch touchscreen in WineView, about $150. I buy them from like eBay and China and various different places. A 10-inch touchscreen, $300. And they're very good touchscreens. Like I said, they have 50 of them in Miami, and I don't think any of them have ever broken. We've been running them for, you know, at least the 7 or 8 years I've been doing business with them. SketchUp. This is a CAD program, and it is free, or it was free. Again, I'm always afraid that people are going to start charging for some of this stuff. So I put the downloadable file in the library, and that CAD file install is there. And it's, of course, all this stuff is virus free, which is important. How does the Automation Academy itself work? There are 3 membership levels. There's a platinum level. I've had a grand total of 1 person ever take me up on the platinum level. He is currently a member. And he does pay me $99 a month. That's a lot, right? All the content plus the 30-minute coaching session. Now, this is a guy who used to work for me about 20 some years ago. And he's a mechanical engineer, and he is working heavily now on learning controls to try to broaden his scope a little bit. And so I do personal coaching for him, try to improve his ability in the controls field. The gold membership. So this is the highest normal membership level. And this gives you all video and file content, all the training videos and all the files in the library in the education section. It's like the platinum, except that it doesn't have the coaching session on it. The silver membership, cheapest membership here. Again, you get all those files, all those downloads, access to the site itself. $9.99 a month, $100 a year, pretty cheap, all file content, all the downloadable stuff, and you can look around the academy. And there's some videos. All the job stuff is still accessible. It's not really training, it's just job stuff. What do I make off of this? About $2,400 this last year, give or take a little bit. It takes a lot of time to do this, as you might think, right? I create new files, but I'm creating the files anyway. So it's not like I'm doing things specifically for this. I need a place to keep them. So that's not very much, right? $2,400 a year. I'm going to mention something called the Membership Academy, which is where I learned how to do this. I joined their group, and it costs about $450 a year to be a member of the Membership Academy. They teach you how to build these membership sites, and there are some very successful people on there, not the least of which is the Membership Academy itself. This is two people from England, and they started this site because they coach people on building these. They charge $450 a year, and they make, according to their release, they said they make £2 million a year. 2 million pounds is about $3 million, or it was, and it's just two people. They did hire a virtual assistant, I think somebody that works remotely for them that helps them with their webinars and things, but they have lots and lots of training videos and things, and I'm patterned my site after the things that I learned in the Membership Academy. So the potential for this site is huge, but I have a big problem compared to the Membership Academy. I don't know how to advertise. Maybe I even sort of know how to advertise, but I don't have time to advertise. I work pretty full time, either teaching classes or 2 weeks a month at Automation NTH or creating material or whatever. I don't really have anybody to help me for this. So, I'm not promoting this. Occasionally I'll throw something out on LinkedIn. I do, of course, these webinars. Sometimes people run into it on YouTube, and I get, random people joining sometimes, and I don't mind if people join and then they quit and they join and they quit. So I say a thank you at the end of this to all the people that have joined, but there's been a lot of other people that have come in, been a member for a couple months and then left, come in, raided the library, downloaded as many files as they could, and then quit, maybe a couple days later. That's okay too. That's part of the game, right? They mention that in the Membership Academy. What does it cost me to do this? Well, hosting the website and everything, I already have a presence, right, in my business website, so I have to pay for that anyway. But it cost me about $1,000 a year for all the plugins and things like that to host this site and the membership community and all that kind of stuff. And then I also pay Huckleberry Branding, which is what this HB is. They are a website maintenance and branding company that happen to be owned by my daughter. They're a bigger company than I am, but they're here in Nashville, and they do a lot of work for, Tennessee Whiskey Trail, a lot of healthcare companies, things like that. But they also maintain my website. If I wanted them to market for me, I could probably have them do it, but it would still take a lot of my time. I would have to figure out what I want them to put out there. And so I don't really have them market, but I do have them maintain the website. These are some of the people, the thank yous, and I'm going to show you the website here in a minute. But these are some of the people that have either been with me since the beginning or for a long, long time. Special call out to Seb and Matthew. You know, he joined at the very beginning at a gold level, and he's been a member the whole time. And I don't think he visits the site that often, but I asked him once about it, and he said, you know, when you started it, you were doing just PLC training. And I mentioned that, you know, I was looking for more systems integration stuff, and you pivoted and started doing a lot more on systems integration. So I'm just here to support you. And I'm like, grateful, super grateful. So he's been paying a lot, right? $29.99 a month since the very beginning. Nicholas West, I think, joined about halfway through. Bashar has been a member at least 6 to 8 months. Sam Bro's been a member for a year and a half or so. Joe Angelini is my only platinum member. And again, he's was an employee of mine. Scott has been a member for a long time. There's lots of other folks that have entered and left and entered and left and things like that. So thanks to all those folks too. Couple people, Jet Leslie and Phil Scruggs were actually testers of the site early on, before I even opened the site to the public. So big thanks to them. Phil has been a guest on a couple of my webinars also. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and show you a bit of the site. I'm going to drag this over here. Well, before I do that, let me show you a little bit of the spreadsheet that I use to kind of keep track of everything here. This was a map that I put on there, upcoming events, things like that. And I listed kind of the sections of the website. And this is old now at this point. But what I do is, like, this is a list of the downloadable files and where they're kept. This is a list of all the videos, right? So you can see here, this is where I came up with, you know, 48 mastering the machine videos and 127 total videos, right, on various different things. Some of them are on Vimeo and on YouTube. The Mastering the Machines I put on YouTube so anybody can watch them. And then the Vimeo is how you serve up videos in a private way so that they can only be accessed from your site. So you can see all the job videos there, all the PLC Odyssey videos. They're not on YouTube. I didn't really release those for free. Final documents, these are all the PLC files and psychometric tests and various different things. So all the things that I gave you the statistics for before. So a little bit of that, and then I'm going to drag over the site itself. So let's see if we can get a good view of all this. This is what people see when they go to my website. So actually, let's see, home. I think you go to home and it has kind of a scrolling bar, and a lot of it is the Automation Academy itself, and then automation consulting, right? This is and I'm, you know, advertising my books, and I used to even sell my books on here, but they're not sold here anymore. So that shows you that a little bit. And then if you log in, the screen looks almost the same, but then you can hit this Academy tab. And if you're logged in, you'll be here, and then you can hit the dashboard. So the dashboard looks like this. It kind of figures out who you are, and then it says welcome back, things like that. And you can see some of this up here. This is because I'm logged in as an administrator. So this allows me to go in the back door and edit files and things like that. So upcoming events, you know, this is today's thing. I kind of put a little blurb up here all the time, you know, every week or two, just to say, here's what I'm up to. You can see here, well, I ended up catching the flu when I got back. I'm on the mend and ready for the webinar tomorrow. So I posted this yesterday. If you go down to the member resources, this is what I was talking about, the different sections. So career, education, library, forums. IO Central has kind of replaced what these forums were. There is a tour of the Academy, which is very much what I'm doing here, right? And this is old. So actually I may replace this with today's webinar, who knows, or at least this section of it. If you go to the different sections, so you can either go here in the member resources, or you can just click on one of these tabs. The career section. So your career, it kind of tracks you where you're at on your goals. And I kind of just partially did this so that I always have a place where I can point it. And your career, kind of little blurb there. Figure out your goals. And this, see, it's same place here. Go to your goals, step by step. What's your goal? This all comes from Ken Coleman's website. He's the one who came up with the idea of figure out your passion, your mission, and your talent. And then this is a dose of reality here, right? Even if your passion is dunking a basketball or playing professional basketball, you know, sometimes you're physically unable to do it. So same thing's true if you want to be a space explorer or something. You know, you're going to have to get a lot of degrees, and technology is going to have to improve and things like that. So little bit of realism. But what is your passion? You can go through a lesson here. What is your talent? What are you best at? And what is your mission? What are your, your goals? So this comes from Ken Coleman's stuff. Then you define your goal and you determine your path. And the next step is the path. So after you've figured all that stuff out, then you plan the steps of your career journey. Where are you now? Some of the different vocations, which are kind of blue collar jobs, professions, which are more of white collar jobs, obstacles. What are the things in your way, right? This might be like, hey, I got to get a 4-year degree, or I got to get a master's degree, then how do I plan my steps, little tiny steps to get to whatever my goal is? Well, creating a resume is a big part of it, right? So this has a lot of resume links, things like that. Networking, those of you who see me on LinkedIn a lot, networking, LinkedIn is probably my main resource for networking, but also in-person networking can be really important. Meetups and distributors and things like that in the industrial automation field. Creating an action plan. This is a formal method of creating your action plan to achieve your steps. And then there's a list of resources. The education section. Okay, this is where you get into courses, right? Mastering the Machine is only one lesson long right now. It was basically starting out with kind of how to concept machinery before quoting it. And I plan on coming out with a second Mastering the Machine episode on quoting specifically, but I haven't gotten around to it. Most of these other things, right? The mini course, this comes from Walker Reynolds. It's just a link to his site. TI Portal, Factory Talk View, ControlLogix 5000. All of these Odyssey videos are what I was telling you before. They are kind of informal ways of studying PLCs. There are no quizzes, but if you follow along with them, you will actually learn how to program PLCs in a kind of an informal way. So I did this for Omron and Allen Bradley and Siemens, things like that. RS Logix 500. This is the one that I mentioned that is on Udemy, and I think they charge quite a bit for it. So you could join here and probably take it cheaper than Udemy does, although they put it on sale every once in a while for $4.99 or $9.99 or whatever. And then there is an advanced lesson, the color sorting conveyor, which is a Fisher Technique conveyor. Let's see what it looks like. If you go to one of these, right? This is considered premium only because you have to be a gold member to access this. So this is the Fisher Technique device, and it's got some videos, things like that before you start how to program all this. And then the completed program is downloadable for this. And this uses, again, RS Logix 500. So back to the courses, it's basically what they all are. What is a PLC history and layout? Again, the RS Logix 500, a color sorter. I was kind of paid to do this by NTH anyway as a cooperative effort to create a formal class, mostly for Dexcom. So I did that as an experiment, put it on Udemy, And then I figured out it takes so long to create those courses, formal courses. And so I kind of started winging it with these Odyssey courses. These are way, way quicker to create. So these videos, pretty easy to follow along with. Again, most of the major platforms. I will be adding Beckhoff probably as an Odyssey course. I don't think I'm going to do the formal video, even though I am creating a formal course for a customer, provided I get a PO, which I should have within a week or so here. The library. This is the, all right, there's even some funny pictures and things like that, links to other sites, but lots and lots of downloads. This is where all the downloads are. In automation acronyms and definitions, I put at the top, it's only one file, but this is how you access it. This thing constantly grows, and it has definitions of just all kinds of things. It keeps, I keep adding to it because I keep running into acronyms or things that I don't know what they are. There's a whole lot lately on formal programming techniques, right? Object-oriented programming and C and Python and a lot of stuff like that in here. Just the definitions of the things in there. General PLC stuff, PLC structure and tag templates. This is free anyway. It's an opt-in incentive on my blog, I believe. You can get this at Automation Primer. PLC Basics. Some of this is on the Automation Primer also. Color sorter exercise, right? Various different files in here. Ladder Logic series. These are directly from the Automation Primer. I had them written up anyway, but they were in blog format. I put them in PDF form here. This is directly out of my Advanced PLC Hardware and Programming book. This is the platforms for Compact and ControlLogix and the platforms for SLC and MicroLogix. This probably makes up nearly a third of that book. And I had to recreate this using Allen Bradley's website, but this gives a lot of detail on the software and the hardware for Allen Bradley. And I did the same for Siemens, right? And then here's some of the installable files I mentioned before: MicroLogix 500 Lite, RS Linx Lite, how to run RS Emulate, the Emulate install, Control Components Workbench. This is all stuff you can find other places on the internet. Anyway, Siemens, S5 software and cables document. This was just a really cool article I found. Some resources for statement list, hardware and software platforms, again, straight out of my Advanced PLC Hardware and Programming book. How to use pointers. This is an advanced exercise. Some OMRON stuff. There's only one download here. PLC for Me. That was the site that I was saying I got this from, and I don't know if it's legitimate, but it is the full CX1 install file, and that's where I got it from. So that's the password for it. HMI stuff, Automation Direct. You can get that from their site. Install for WineView. I really like WineView and WineTech. Like I said, I use this a lot. And then I've also written some pretty good articles on HMIs. Devices, controllers, hardware timer and counters, microcontrollers, lots of Raspberry Pi, some comparisons. I think I have some Arduino stuff, but it's not listed on there. Epson robot software, general stuff on sensors. What is machine vision? This is a pretty extensive article that I wrote on how machine vision works. And you can find the same in here. This is my entire maintenance and troubleshooting in industrial automation book. Like I said, about a $50 book, and you can download this all as separate sections. But you can see lots of different subjects in here. Basic troubleshooting, and I think there's some more advanced troubleshooting there. It's troubleshooting of the Sweet Machine, which is a Allen Bradley full machine here, underscanning the schematics. All the schematics are in here with a detailed explanation of them. How to use a multimeter, various types of industrial software. So all this is in my book, OEE, PLC stuff, machine vision, systems and industries, lots of different documents in there. Machinery, I think a lot of this is regulations, ISO 13849 on machine safety. All right, Industry 4.0 stuff, data modeling handbook from HighByte, ultimate guide to digital twins, top 20 ERP software platforms. Engineering project notebook. I used to hand out it's about a 50-page document, I believe, and this tells how to create a project notebook. How do you name tags and objects? Wiring stuff, building and wiring your PLC trainer. This is a whole book. I don't have one within easy reach here, but this is actually a whole book, and this is the PDF of it. You could buy this thing online. I want to say it's probably $20 because it's a physical book, but this is the software copy of it. And if you can see these behind me, so I can never tell if people can see behind me, but those trainers were built basically using this. So this is a step-by-step with lots of pictures, how to build your own PLC trainer, really based on the Micrologix 1400, but you can put any PLC in there. CAD stuff, some downloadable software, SketchUp, and then some CAD sample pages. So that's kind of fun. Trainer modules, Wireshark. Wireshark is useful. That's a nice nice tool for diagnosing problems with Ethernet and finding Ethernet addresses. Tests, psychometric practice tests have to do with the career stuff. The calendar, I don't think anybody ever uses it, but theoretically you can schedule meetings with me. Then there's IO Central. So IO Central takes you to another site, and you log in using the same credentials that you have. And as I mentioned, this is free for anybody. So if you go to my site, you can actually create a profile here, and you are allowed into the forums without actually, buying a membership to anything. So IO Central used to be the community part of the activity feed. Let's see here, of the Automation Academy. So now it opens up as a separate thing. And so this shows all the activity. You can see I updated the acronyms and definition document. Not a lot of people on here. Sometimes I post things on here, entrepreneurship in automation. This was a webinar. Every once in a while, somebody will post something like, questions on static discharge or whatever. And you can go into these different groups, and the different members will post different things. What are the groups themselves? Well, the Automation Academy has a group. There's an entrepreneurs group. Well, an interesting thing about this, notice this is my company group, and I put this in here because if you go into resources, so you can actually go into global resources, and then North America resources, and there are subgroups within each one of these. So Tennessee has a subgroup, and of course, any state could have a subgroup. And then members of the Tennessee subgroup, and then companies can create their own groups, So I did this for my own company as an example, and then Automation NTH has a group. I do about 2 weeks a month for them. So, they support me in a lot of what I do. So I went ahead and created their group for them. Anybody from Automation NTH that signed up from here could be a member of this group. And I think there are several members, maybe Matt, myself, Matt, that's it. Go back to Tennessee. So navigating this can be a little awkward. I would love this to be a little cleaner, but still haven't figured out exactly how to do that. Let's see, Tennessee members, subgroups, North America resources. I think I've already done the subgroups. Oh, this one was interesting. Tennessee Industrial Training. I did this because somebody asked me to create a group that the different members of the Tennessee Board of Regents schools, the Vol State, Montlow State, all the TCAT centers and things could come. University of Tennessee Engineering Group. I created the group, and then nobody signed up. So from that forward, let me talk a little bit about what went right and what went wrong for some of these things, right? As I mentioned, this is the cost and revenue. I make $2,400 a year, a couple $100 a month. Some months are as high as 300 and something. I think I've had 100 and something some months. So people drop in and out. And then I have my consistent members. What doesn't work about this? As I mentioned, the Membership Academy was a great resource in how to set all this up. I spent a lot of time building this material and putting things on the site and everything. And then, of course, got very busy after COVID kind of ended. And now I've been really busy at Automation NTH, and I'm teaching again. Went to Phoenix 2 weeks ago, about to teach a Beckhoff class. So I get really busy, and I scrunch stuff like this in where I can, create new material where I can, but I don't advertise like at all, other than this webinar. I put this up every 2 to 3 weeks on LinkedIn, and sometimes people sign in, and I can see there's a couple people here checking it out. And thank you to James and John for hanging out. But I don't advertise. I would love to partner with people to get involved with this, but the people that so far have jumped in and said they were interested, they run out of gas too. They're all busy. They're running their businesses, and it's going to take somebody. Either I'm going to have to hire somebody, which I kind of promised my wife that I wouldn't do, hire a full-time employee. I could contract somebody to do the advertise for me. I could even use Huckleberry branding. I mean, my daughter owns a pretty decent sized company here in Nashville, but we've talked about it, and I'm not sure what she would need from me. She knows a lot about the site, but I tried somebody once. I actually paid somebody on that I met on LinkedIn that was a marketer, and I paid him for about 3 or 4 months. And all he did, and I don't exactly blame him for this. I probably blame myself as much as anybody. He created a lot of generic looking ads with, showing maybe people teaching classes. And if I gave him some graphics, he would put my graphics in there, and they looked very professional. But by themselves, one thing is, I was just coming up on the opening of the Automation Academy, very busy, so I couldn't provide him a lot of stuff. And two, just throwing an ad out on LinkedIn doesn't do it, right? There's a lot more to it. You have to be constant. You have to be putting something out maybe almost every day. You have to build an email list and use things like opt-in incentives to get people's emails. And then basically, I'm not going to say spam people, but it's something like that. You've got to hammer them over and over again. I consider one person that has a website that he's promoting pretty successful at this. His name's Stephen Gates. If you've ever seen myplctraining.com, he does a really good job, and he's teaching basic PLC programming, and he's getting members to sign up for, $100 a month, $200 a month, lifetime memberships, whatever, training videos. He sells training videos, and I think he's making a living entirely off of it. But I know he sends emails, if not daily, every other day. He's a constant presence in front of people on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on probably other avenues. So I would need somebody to be doing that. I can't do that. I just don't have time. And I'm honestly not that interested in doing all that. That marketing is a whole different skill set, and I probably don't have it. So that's one of the things that's gone wrong. What's gone right? Well, I think I built a pretty good site. And like I said, it's paying for itself. I have to have a website anyway, a business website. So I use it for that. And eventually, I'm hoping that just through attrition, it kind of grows. But we will see. Don't really know. I'm going ahead and open it up for questions here. Again, thank you to all these folks. These have been consistent members. And then I have people come in and out all the time. The next webinar, December 16th, will be on Beckhoff. Like I said, I am creating a Beckhoff. I may have to create an actual book on it because I've got a customer that wants 3 students to learn Beckhoff. It's going to be a 4-day class. Again, supported by Automation NTH. I'm going to probably build a trainer, do a lot of write-up on it and have a class here at my facility probably in December. Don't know how long it's going to take to put together both the trainer and the book, but that is the goal because this is a local company that wants this. At this point, any questions, comments? I see James and John Witten. Any questions or comments, or what's up with you guys? Well, on that note, thanks for showing up for the folks who have showed up here. We're about 45 minutes in, but at this point, I think I've given a pretty good overview of the Automation Academy and IO Central. If you want to join IO Central, right, it's free. All you have to do is go to community.automationllc.com, sign up, hang out in those different groups, talk to other people. Again, some of the folks that I listed here show up there sometimes. There's some other people you notice, Matt Weaver, Jet, I think he's asked some questions and things. There's another member here. Actually, I gave somebody a membership for coming up with the name IO Central, and he's been pretty regular on the IO Central site. So thanks to him also for coming up with the name, but he hasn't been a paying member, but I gave him a year's membership, to come in and hang out. And he's been pretty regular on the IO Central website. And of course, he came up with a name, which was great also. So on that note, I will say goodbye to everybody. I regrew my COVID beard. I had this back in 2 years ago in June. And that's because this is my flu beard. So I caught the flu a week or so ago, a little over a week ago, and I just let it go. So that's where this is all coming from. I'll probably shave it all off maybe tomorrow since I'm getting better and have to go into NTH and look presentable. So on that note, we'll see y'all later.